Alrighty, hello and welcome back to the Thought Cloud podcast. The goal of this conversation is to tell the story of an inspiring student to inspire other students. Our guest today is Trey Craddock. Trey is at CU Boulder, where he is involved in so much on his campus. I can't even begin to get down this list of what he's been up to, but he is studying economics, and he is a part of the Boulder County Young Republicans, Turning Point USA vice president, Students for DeSantis national spokesperson. He is a Leadership Institute campus reform correspondent. He is a Boulder American Conservation Coalition ambassador, and he is a Battle Cry for America Ministries ambassador. He's involved in a lot on his campus. He is giving back in so many different ways. Trey, thank you for joining us today. Really excited to hear about your path and how you've gotten to where you've gotten and where you hope to go and what you've learned along the way. So thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get into it. Let's start with Boulder. Boulder as a school, how did you decide that was the place you wanted to go?
Well, I decided to study at CU Boulder because I came to an end with sports and decided I had bigger and better things to focus on to accomplish the goals that I have in store for my future. And I'm positive I made the right decision with choosing Boulder because it's a very inclusive university and there's just a lot of support going on around there. And I couldn't be more excited with my decision.
Absolutely. So you said you were doing sports beforehand, but you gave it up to focus on what you're focusing on now, right?
Absolutely. I played basketball. I brought my team, helped lead my team to a state championship at Northfield High School senior year. So, I mean, that was it was a great way to make my mark at that school as a new school. And it was the first playoff run that we got to the Final Four and as far as we got. So I'm excited that I was able to do that. But, through tough times, through COVID, things didn't pan out well. So decided to take an end on that.
So Boulder, how does Boulder mesh all these three things that you're focusing on together as far as it goes with, being a leader, being involved in your community, and, your focus is econ and politics. So how does that all tie together at Boulder?
Well, call it being, since I ran for student body president as a freshman, I ran against three tri-executive tickets, and they were all candidates that were all upperclassmen. And I was really able to find my calling during that process. And I stood out to a lot of individuals on campus and even individuals that support the things that we do on campus in terms of student body government and things like that. So, studying economics and being able to understand the markets and how they fluctuate helps me a lot in the political realm because it matters. I mean, we see what's happening right now with the economy. It's going up and down. Mortgage rates are going up and down, and that's all covered in the body of economics. And it really gives me a step forward and a step ahead of my competition, being able to understand how that's happening and being able to elaborate with people on why those things are happening. So I think studying at CU Boulder economics is honestly one of the more positive things within my education that I could really, push for and merit myself on.
Absolutely. Well, they have a great school for that as well. I have plenty of friends that have gone through that program and they just can't say enough, wonderful things about what they were able to take away. So, I hear you as far as it goes, knowing what you're talking about when you're, on that stage or debating somebody behind that door and, letting them understand really why you can, make these decisions because you've got the, knowledge backing to understand it. I think that's wonderful. I love that. As far as it's been on campus, what's caught you most by surprise being there? What did you go in expecting, and maybe what's caught you by surprise?
Well, honestly, coming from freshman year to now being junior year, honestly, the student body support with the sports. I mean, as a freshman, there were not a lot of people at the football games, and you could honestly probably even donate canned goods to get into the games for free. And now we've got Coach Prime, and you've got people flying in from everywhere around the country. You've got the Fox News Sports doing pregame interviews and shows there. So I think that's been the most surprising thing that caught me off guard with being at Boulder. But it's been a great time, and that is honestly one of the best things that could have ever happened to me throughout my time in college.
Absolutely. And not to mention, he got Lil Wayne to come out as well, which is just, that's all time. That's so legendary. Really cool to see that sports program, that football team do what they've done this last year. Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, very neat, very neat. As far as being there, you know, you know, studying economics and being involved in politics, I guess let's take it a step back. What's inspired you to go down this path? What's said, "Hey, this is what I need to do."
Well, not being able to actually play in the state championship game in high school because of COVID, everybody being shut down and locked inside the houses, it really struck a chord with me. And I really just wanted to see why that was happening and who were the people in charge of that. And it led me straight to politics. So that's what really got me to dive deep into that atmosphere. And ever since I got in it, I will not get out. I've literally found my calling in it, and I'm going all the way with it until I can't anymore.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that, and it's sad to see that it took something as drastic as shutting down a state championship to get there. I think that's brutal, but some of the best things come from adversity, right? And
Right.
so for you to be able to take that negative situation, turn it into a positive, what are some of the impacts you feel like you've been able to make now, or what do you feel like you're more equipped to impact given what you've been involved with on campus and what you've been, helping, drive as student body?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said before, I mean, the most impactful part of my time at CU was running for student body president as a freshman independently against tri-executive candidates that were all upperclassmen. I mean, like I said, I was really able to find my calling during that process, and I stood out to many students, putting my face at the forefront of my beliefs. And I mean, you're putting your face in front of the whole student body, with taking that chance and taking that risk and betting on yourself. And I did that. And I think that that was honestly the most impactful thing I could have done because it got a lot of people engaged with what student programs we have going on, what extracurricular activities are available and made available on campus that are student like tuition ran and funded. So I think that was really really impactful for my time in Boulder and at Boulder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's that's got to take a lot of courage. I don't think people maybe understand the depth of courage, and also, to be completely candid, it's universities are, more left leaning. If you're running on more of a conservative stance or have those beliefs, it's probably harder to do that, I would think. I mean, but it sounds like you've had a really positive experience with that. So I like that a lot. That sounds great that, people aren't shutting people down for one side of beliefs. I don't think you should shut down anyone for left or right. I think everyone's got to be heard.
Absolutely, that's the First Amendment, and we've got to protect freedom of speech. Everybody has the right to be entitled to their own opinion and what they feel is best for whatever community they're a part of.
Absolutely. Well, props to you for standing up and showing that that's possible. I think that's just it's wonderful. So, as far as what you've been involved with outside of campus, I want to talk about, how you've been able to get involved. I think getting involved is something that people maybe struggle to take the first step in doing. And, you know, getting involved in things such as Turning Point USA, you're the vice president there. Boulder County Young Republicans, you're chairman. The list goes on and on. You've really just been able to grab, life by the horns and take advantage of so many opportunities. How did you start to get involved in these things, and what doors did those open?
So, pretty much running for student body as a freshman really opened the eyes of many, and like Turning Point, that was one of the first things I became involved with, and I didn't start with an executive position. I had to work my way up the ranks in that sense, and I started off as a member, and I showed up to meetings. I actually showed that I wanted to be a part of something great, and I took the position of the treasurer, and I did that for a term, and then I got appointed vice president, and I'm under Tanner Egloff. He's a great guy. He's a sitting president right now, and he's doing an honorable job with that, all while being a legislative aide. So, I mean, I'm honored to be of his help with everything that we have going on with the Turning Point, and we're really getting the youth engaged in the political scene. Even the silent ones who aren't really as vocal with their views, they always send me kind messages and appreciate what we're doing. So, I mean, just knowing that I'm not better than anyone and that I have to put in the work to get the necessary executive positions in that manner, that's all
Hmm.
I did. And it's no secret to it. It's just hard work and consistency. And, through that, I've been able to do that, which also led to me being the current chairman of the Boulder County Young Republicans. And I'm most proud of that endeavor that I had. I mean, it's great to see, Matt McCullough, Adair, Andrew, Jacob, David, and Parker all come together with me, all like minded to fight for what we value and believe in for the betterment of our country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's I think it's wonderful that you've been able to just like you said it so well. You're not better than anybody. You got to put in the work to, get that position, whatever it is, whatever that position is, whatever organization that is. And that's just such a great fundamental belief to have in everything you do. So for you to, embody that and then take it forward and, we're looking at this list, we see everything that you've been able to, that's awesome. That's a big, that is being a leader right there. That absolutely is being a leader. So at your time at Boulder, if you can walk away and say, I was able to accomplish this, what would that be to you?
Honestly, I would say making the people that are silent about whatever they care about or any programs or things that they wanted to implement into to Colorado, starting up new programs. I feel like I really got the ball rolling on that. I really feel like I made people believe that their voices could be heard and that their ideas aren't going to waste. I feel like that is one of the biggest things that I could say that I was able to do and, be a part of the help in that. Not a lot of people were doing, or coming up with the ideas to start campus chapters of whatever the case may have been. I feel like I was able to do that, and I mean the fact that there's so many more groups now. From me being a freshman to me now being a junior. I mean, I think that my work with not being silent and being resilient in that process, I feel like that really, gave a look of restored faith for the student body for whatever it is that they felt like they could do because they've been doing it and they've been doing really well with it.
Well, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. You said resilient. I'm curious about that resiliency. What, you're in the public light, like you said. You've got your personality, your beliefs all on the line in front of everybody. And you're standing up for not only what you believe, but for the betterment of other people. Tell us about that resiliency. What kind of pushback do you get? What kind of friction comes about by standing up for, what you're doing?
I mean, I get hate every single day, but I also receive love. Like I said, people send me messages, on both of the sides, appreciating me standing out and putting my face at the forefront, to be a instrument to my faith and my values. And I mean, I take love with great assault, and I honestly take the hate the same way. I show love to people who literally hate me because it's the right thing to do. And I mean, it's just fighting. I'm never backing down for any competition. I have not ever been known to back down from competition, and I won't ever. And it'll continue to be that way. So I feel like my resilience is honestly insane. It's out of this world. I feel that there's not a lot of things that can stop me. I don't really think that flesh can stop me because I let God take control, and He's been doing a great job with walking me and placing me into the right places and opening doors for me that no man could have opened for me and himself. So I think that is really, it's just a profound faith in my God. So,
Absolutely.
yep.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you have that. I'm happy that you're able to demonstrate that. And, hopefully other people can learn from that as well. Resiliency is so important. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. As far as it goes now, all these organizations that you've been involved in, you said Boulder County Young Republicans, you being the chairman, that's one of your most proud endeavors that you've been a part of. Is that, you know, where you spend most of your time? Where do you spend most of your time between all these organizations? And what do you enjoy doing most at the end of the day?
Well, okay, so I mean, it's a lot of work. We've got to set up for events with the Young Republicans. We're the first charter chapter in Colorado, so everything we do, it takes time. We've yet to have our first launch event, but we've already got great confirmed speakers. I mean, we've got the Senate minority whip coming, Cleve Simpson, to speak with us. And we've got a lot of connections and just a bunch of influential people in Colorado that are showing support to what we have going on. But I mean, honestly, I've been on the DeSantis campaign, and as the student spokesperson, I mean, he dropped out, but through all of that, I've been grinding and fighting tooth and nail for his campaign. And I really was doing a lot of that stuff virtually. I did a lot of work virtually. I was never really in Colorado to be able to handle that, but that's why I assembled a great executive board and why we have a great executive board with the young Republicans, because they're able to handle the things that I can't. And I mean, when you talk about keeping everyone involved and everyone getting that position that they received, it all comes together because they all understand that you only make changes by building up that village and keeping that village involved and being transparent. And I honestly, holding myself accountable, just being transparent, I've been able to get a lot of work done from various states for the voter chapters of the Young Republicans. So that work has been done everywhere around the country. I mean, even at my most important events, going to DC, Florida, Houston, I'm still grinding out the Young Republicans work and the Turning Point work. So, I mean, it's been around. It's been pretty global. I've been pretty much everywhere around the country doing this work and making connections for our group.
Definitely. Definitely, definitely. Well, I can tell you're passionate about it. And I think that's what's most exciting is to see that you've got such conviction behind what you do and you care about the people you're working with and you care to again stay resilient and all that comes your way. I just think it's admirable with whether it's politics or whether it's sports or whether it's math. I mean, whatever it is, those characteristics just make an unbelievable story. So I'm glad to see you living that out, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you. As far as after undergraduate, what do you hope to be doing? Where do you hope to be?
Well, I hope to stay consistent with my political endeavors. I mean, my goal overall is to become an elected official. And with the help of Run Gen Z, of which I'm now a part of, I'm being partnered with, I mean, the most influential young Americans in America. I mean, my mentor that I was paired with through the Run Gen Z organization is Caleb Hanna. He was the youngest elected African American lawmaker in America's history, and he's in West Virginia. He's now running for a delegate seat. He's my mentor. So I just want to stay on the same path and become an elected official so that I can bring my issues to the table and along with everyone else's issues, because there's a lot of problems in this country and in our states and our backyards that need to be dealt with. And there's not a lot of people willing to go and talk about their issues and other people's issues at the big table. But I really feel like it's my calling, and it's something that I'm going to continue to do. And I'm going to grasp it. I'm going to take hold of it, and I'll never let it go once it happens, because I am fighting for this country in a way that I can't even fathom. So my plan is to really just stay on board with politics and one day become an elected official. Hopefully, the youngest, African American elected lawmaker in Colorado's history, if
Wow.
God allows that to happen for me.
Absolutely. Well, I love that goal, and I love to hear that you've got that support network around you to make it happen, and it'll be onwards and upwards from here. So we're rooting you on. That'll be wonderful. That'll be great. Next kind of thought here for you. As far as it goes, we're gonna close it out with a couple of questions here. Being a student, you've got a lot on your plate. We've said it a million times, but balancing everything, making sure you're keeping up with everything. What would you say the most stressful part of being a student is day in and day out?
I would say, honestly, the being consistent with my studies and making sure that I don't over time myself on the priorities that I have. I mean, making sure I'm taking the right credit hours and not accepting opportunities that are made available to me just because it's a glamorous or a big a big look or a big thing. I think that understanding I have to maintain my schedule in order to be able to build upon my schedules in the future. I think that my biggest struggle with that is actually saying no to people to help them out, because I love helping people out and I hate saying no. So I think that's one of the biggest struggles that I have being a student. And I'm slowly overcoming it. I'm surrounding myself with the right people who have had similar passes to me, and my friends, all my friends, a lot of the people I'm with, they're all in investment banking. So they have to kind of attend to those schedules too, now that they're all getting internships. And I mean, I've been working my butt off for the past 2 years they're finally starting to see that. So now it's like we're all on the same page as far as like studying and getting things done and making sure that we're making enough time for even free time for ourselves so that we don't get too combobulated or discombobulated with our own priorities and our own interests. I think that's one of the biggest struggles of being a college student and being involved with as
Absolutely.
much as I'm involved in.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm sure the more you're involved, the more it seems like there's things to be involved with. I think that's like a compounding phenomenon that happens. So that's awesome. Great answer. Um, Next question: what would you say the most meaningful way for students to help each other is?
Honestly, just doing it, just going out and just saying, I'll do it or I'll help. Being a part of something small may not look as wise or as good during the time being, but 10 to 15 years from now, you'll be able to go back and say you helped, build that coalition or organization. I mean, you look at chapters and little like student organizations that have just started. People start off with two, three people, and then they come back 20 years later, and then it's a huge thing, and it may have even went national. I mean, Charlie Kirk for the Turning Point USA. I mean, he was out basically campaigning the Turning Point USA at some point, begging for donors. I mean, I won't say begging, but he was asking for donors. I mean, he had to start somewhere. Now he's got the biggest student youth coalition and conservative movement group. Well, not conservative because it's bipartisan, but or nonpartisan. But I mean, just actually helping, putting your foot forward, volunteering your time out of your day, taking out 30 to an hour of your day to help someone else out could go a long way, and it could be very impactful for not only the student body but for the community in general. I think the biggest way for people to come in and make change and help people is to actually go out and do it.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. Next question, which is a big question, and you kind of maybe touched on it earlier, but if you have a different answer, feel free to answer it. What is your biggest hope to accomplish during your time on Earth?
Well, I really love the big seats in the room. I love the Capitol buildings around the nation. And my goal remains the same, and that's just to become an elected official, to be able to, deliver on the people's issues and my issues, and hold myself to my principles and values that I feel are ethical in my religion and our country's origins. So, I mean, the answer remains the same. I do just want to stay as an elected official and move my way up to the ranks or move my way up the ranks to be able to help people nationally one day or even the whole state one day. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
definitely a big goal of mine.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I'm glad there's someone like you that's wanting to do that, right? I mean, that's just makes me feel good. I'm sure it makes plenty of other people feel good. Well, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Last question: what is your top piece of advice for those who are early in their educational journey?
I would say believe in yourself and go out and do it because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will for you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, hey, Trey, it's been awesome having you on. It's been awesome hearing about your story, your path, your passions, what you've learned, and where can people keep up with you and keep track on Trey Craddock?
So my X account, it's not Twitter anymore. It's X is Trey Crad, TrayCradd, and then you can be updated with me on Instagram, TravierCraddock. That's just the full name, and that's on Instagram. I'm a public account, so you'll be able to stay up to date with me in regards to whatever I'm doing on there. And I post a lot, so you can definitely be updated on there for sure.
Absolutely. Well, hey, go give him a follow. Keep up with Trey. And again, hey, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a wonderful discussion with you.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to be on the show.